So here we go again, on the road. This time we are going to Trenton, Texas. And surprise, surprise, we're not going to pick up pigs. We are on our way to get a commercial size egg incubator to hatch out baby chicks. Because it's either that or we're going to have to buy stock in Tractor Supply or Hoover Hatchery or, you know, any of those places. So ready for this next adventure, honey?
Sure. Why buy chicks when we can make our own, huh?
Right. I got tired of sitting on them. So we gotta find another way. But here we go.
This is still part of our original plan that we had on the farm, on the homestead. So getting a big box incubator is something that's been on the list for a long time. We had an opportunity, one came up for sale that was reasonably priced, so we're going to take advantage of it and go get it.
Yeah, it's about half the price of what it would have been brand new, and it's a really nice looking one. So comes with extra trays and a watering system and all kinds of stuff. So we'll see it when we get it, when we get there. We'll see it when we get there. So, y'all, I'm embarrassed to show you this, but this is my building that we used to refer to as my she shed, and it is a flipping disaster. Now, it's a mess, and this is where our chick shack is going to be when we get through cleaning it up. I started it on this end. I started cleaning all this end, looked just like that end did. And yes, I do have a glitter wall. At one point, this was my office where I had a computer and a sofa lounger and TV and all that stuff in here. And at one point, it was really nice. I had my little blue and purple lights that went around the ceiling. This was very zen at one point. But now I'm in the middle of cleaning it up, and I started filming it, and then I lost part of my film, so I'm just showing you guys kind of where I'm starting out at. So, we're moving the brooder over to the new chick shack. Cole has cleaned up what I didn't get cleaned up yet. We still have to sweep the floors pretty good. It's been a brooding house, it's been a gardening shed, it's been multiple things, but right now it's about to go back to being a chicken hatching and brooding building. So here come the guys. Look at the chickens. Get out of there, y'all.
Hang on. Go that way.
I got them. Okay.
Is it going to be too big?
I measured. There's room.
Oh, okay.
Of course, I don't know if you have to lift it around the table.
We're going to have to move some stuff, huh?
Okay, so this building, like I said, has been a lot of things. It's been an office. It has been a getaway. It was my she shed for a while. I used to do crafts out here, and that's where all this stuff comes from. This is all crafting things, which I don't have anywhere else to put it, so right now it's staying right there. Anyway, so what we have done is we have moved our Eggubator 2000. No, I'm just kidding. This is a GQF cabinet incubator. It needs to be cleaned. We bought this used. It looked like this when we got it. Therefore, don't judge. I know this whole building is janky right now, but we're going to get it all cleaned up. Okay, so I've got the big brooder cleaned out, as best I can. It's made of wood. It's for animals. There's only so much you can do. And I have put huge layer of new bedding down in this brooder, getting it ready for chicks. And what this bedding is something called Coop Clean. And it's sweet PDZ, so it's like this grass. I've used this before, and I just happened to have a big old bag of it left. I don't really care for it. I prefer wood chips, to be honest. This tends to get wet and really matted up really quickly, whereas the wood chips, well, especially when they're little, last for probably a week before you have to go in and clean it all out. And I will tell you that this is a job, coming in here and cleaning all of the stuff out of the bottom of this brooder. I got to get a big shovel that the handle's been broken off of and come in here and scoop all of this out hand by hand to get it all out. Tim did make these ends where they would come open, where I could just scoop it all out. The end with a bucket underneath, but I have found it's just as much work and it's just as easy just to scoop it out and put it in something by hand. So, especially with this being indoors now and not outside, I don't want to make that big of a mess. So, anyway, so this brooder, I can check mark it off my list. It's ready to go. Now these lids come down on hinges, and it has these vents in the top to where when it's summertime and it gets hot, we'll have air conditioning in here, but that also gives them some ventilation. And typically what I tend to do is, instead of trying to put heat lamps on top of this whole thing, what I typically will do is I will put heat lamps on one end, and then I will leave the other end open. Because many times when the heat lamps are growing, they actually become too much heat for the chicks. So I typically am not that person that's going to put, I used to have these temperature gauges, and the lamp would go off and on based on the temperature and all of that. And what I really discovered was that the best route for this is to put heat lamps on one side, let them have that other side to go to if it gets too hot. And so that is the method that I will be using for this. I'm not going to go drag out those thermostats and all of that. Now, if the weather is super, super, super duper cold outside, I will probably drag a thermostat out here. But because this building is going to be heated to begin with, I'm not going to really stress over that much. The chicks know when they need heat, and they will gravitate toward the heat, and they will move away from it when they don't need as much heat. So, anyway, big brooder. Check mark that off the list. It's ready to go. Okay, we have our GQF incubator here. I did buy this from someone used, so it is not in perfect shape. I do know it works. We plugged it in while we were there and checked everything out. And right now it has 3 of these trays in here, like this. And on top of these trays go the things that hold the eggs. And so you put the eggs end up in here, and this thing will move the trays around to where the eggs are not staying in one particular spot for 3 whole weeks. It keeps the eggs turned, which is something that the mama hen usually does when they're in the nest. She will sit there and she will move them around with her feet and her wings and her beak, and that keeps it from the chick growing and sticking to one side of the egg. The last 3 days that the eggs are in the incubator, you will be putting them on what we call lockdown, which means the egg will cease to move around after that. Those last 3 days is when the chick is positioning itself in the egg, getting ready to try to break out. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking these egg crates here out of the incubator, and as you can see, they're a little dusty, and I don't want anything dirty in there that I absolutely don't have to have. I am going to come in and kind of wipe these down some as well. Other than that, it's fairly clean in there. It's not too bad. This system is digital, and it has this bucket up here that you put water in, and a hose from the bucket attaches to this hose right here, and it's like a drip irrigation system sort of, where this sponge absorbs a certain amount of water, and that keeps the humidity at a certain rate. And there's a little fan back there that will blow more humidity into this big chamber down here as it is needed in order to keep it where it needs to be. So that is another thing that's kind of like a Ronco. You just put the eggs in there and you set it and forget it until it's time to put them on lockdown, and then you come in and change your settings. When they are on lockdown, you want your humidity level to be a little bit higher because it makes it easier for them to bust through the eggs. So as soon as I get these all scrubbed and cleaned out, I will spray them down with hydrogen peroxide, which should sanitize them for when we get ready to put eggs in. I'll have this table here. It's a mess, I know. It's got paint and stuff all over it, but I will be getting this table wiped down, and this table will be a usable workspace for me when I'm working with the incubator. So really, that's all that we need right now. I've got a shelf over here, and it already has some chicken stuff in here, and of course all this stuff it needs to be cleaned and scrubbed and sanitized, which I will do prior to having chicks show up. I will be bringing the rest of my chick supplies in here as well. There's room on this shelf to put bags of feed, or room underneath the brooder to put bags of wood chips and all that kind of stuff. So this is really all of the space I need. Not all of this building is being used for this purpose. The rest of it is being used for storage, but this whole end over here is just going to be used for doing chicks. So I think we're about ready to go. In a couple weeks, we're going to put our first batch in here and crank them up, see what happens. Wish us luck.